Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving into something massive happening in Vietnam's education system. There's a brand new law on the books, and believe me, it's set to completely redefine what it means to be a teacher there.
And look, this isn't just some small tweak. We're talking about a landmark law, simply called the Law on Teachers. It's going to rewrite the entire rulebook for pretty much everyone in the profession, from kindergarten teachers all the way up to university professors.
So the big question is, what does this actually mean for teachers, for students, and for the future of education in Vietnam? What's in this new blueprint? All right, let's dive in and break it all down. Okay, first things first. Let's really get to the heart of it. What's the core idea behind this whole thing? What's the fundamental principle that's driving this huge legal change? Well, the law kicks off with a really powerful statement. Right there in Article 3, it says teachers aren't just employees. They are the core force of the entire education sector. They're framed as this critical part of society. And, that's not just fancy legal talk. It really sets the stage for everything else in the law. And to be clear, this is a big deal. We're talking about a comprehensive, top-to-bottom, new framework, and it has a firm start date, January 1st, 2026. That's when this new era for the teaching profession officially begins. Okay, so if the profession is getting this major new focus, you're probably wondering, how do you actually become a teacher under this new system? What's the new path in? Well, the new law tries to make it super clear. It lays out a really structured journey. Think of it as a three-step process. First, you have to meet the professional standards. Second, you pass the recruitment process. And third, you get appointed to an official professional title. Simple as that. And these standards, they're not just about what you know from a textbook. Article 13 makes it clear. Yes, you need the right training and competence, of course, but there's a huge emphasis now on professional ethics and sticking to a formal code of conduct. It seems the goal is to build a teaching force that's really built on a foundation of trust and integrity. All right, so you're in the profession. Now what? What are the new rules of the game for practicing teachers? Well, the law creates a really clear playbook with both rights and duties spelled out. So on one side of the coin, you have a teacher's rights laid out in Article 8. This is about giving them professional independence in their work, protecting their honor and their physical safety, making sure they get training to improve, and just a basic right to be treated fairly and with respect. It's all about empowering them. And on the other side of that coin, you've got duties. Article 9 lists these out. We're talking about teaching in line with the country's educational goals, upholding the profession's honor, always learning and growing, and this is a big one, respecting the students and creating a safe, innovative place for them to learn. But it's not just about what you should do. There are also some really clear boundaries. The law is very specific about what teachers are absolutely forbidden from doing. Article 11 basically draws a line in the sand. Teachers cannot discriminate against learners, period. They can't engage in any fraud when it comes to recruitment or testing. They're forbidden from forcing students to take extra classes just for the money, and they can't abuse their power or trash talk their colleagues. It's pretty clear they're trying to stamp out some of these long-standing negative practices. Okay, so this all leads to a really crucial question, right? If you're going to ask more of teachers, raise the standards, give them more duties, how are you going to support them? How do you invest in this core force? Well, the law has an answer for that, and it's all about salary and support. And this right here, this might be the biggest headline in the whole law. It says that salaries for teachers will be ranked highest in the entire public service pay scale. That is a massive statement. It's a huge policy shift aimed at making teaching a much more attractive and respected career financially. And it's not just about the base salary either. The support system is pretty comprehensive. We're talking about extra allowances for teachers working in tougher regions, state-sponsored professional development, support for healthcare, and even help with housing for those in remote areas. It's a whole package. And to really cement how important teachers are to the culture, the law also doubles down on November 20th. It officially reaffirms it as Vietnam Teachers' Day, a day set aside every year just to honor and celebrate the nation's educators. The law also gets into the nitty-gritty of a teacher's career, specifically retirement. For most, the retirement age is what you'd expect following the labor code, but there's some interesting flexibility here. For instance, preschool teachers, recognizing how demanding that job is, can retire up to 5 years earlier. But on the flip side, accomplished academics, like professors, can actually work up to 10 years longer, which makes sense. You want to keep that expertise in the system. All right, so let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? When you put all these different pieces together, what does the future of teaching in Vietnam start to look like? When you get right down to it, this law is way more than just a list of rules. It's really a blueprint to professionalize, to elevate, and to modernize the entire teaching profession. We're talking higher standards, clear ethics, better pay, stronger protections. The whole idea is to build a teaching force that's respected, effective, and ready for the future. So, with this new blueprint in hand, will Vietnam successfully build the teaching force of the future? It's definitely an ambitious plan. It's a massive investment in people, right at the heart of the education system. Of course, the real question is how it all plays out in practice. But the goal, the vision, is to completely reshape education for generations to come.